Hello and welcome back to my tutorial series on card magic. I'm Alex, if you haven't met me before, nice to meet you. I do card tricks, I'm a bit of a mentalist and stuff, and just teaching to like a tutorial thing with the cards. Welcome to my new pad, by the way. To everybody who's seen my videos before, you'll notice things have changed slightly. What I'm going to do today, I had a comment on one of my videos, somebody asked me to just go over the glide as a colour change, so I'm just going to show you that really quickly, and then I'm going to show you the ambitious card. But I had a kind of idea, I might sort of show you something I do as part of my repertoire, like when I'm walking about, just so that I can show you the glide as a colour change and where I use it in my act sort of thing. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to show you an ambitious card routine, and then in the next couple of days I'm going to teach you how to do the ambitious card routine. But just bear with me 2 seconds while I stand up so you can see my cards and my big cuffs. Now, are you ready? This is a deck of cards here. Every single card in the deck is different in some way. There are 2 jokers. That one's colourful, you see, so these are different, and then that one is black and white, and it's also the guarantee for the deck. That one, sorry, you can't really see that there. So that is that joker, a bit upside down, but I'm sure you can adjust. And that is the colourful joker, but we're not going to use those. What I normally do when I start at a table is I hand the deck out to be shuffled, and that's, you know, up to the spectator. They give them a mix. I normally start by saying something along the lines of, the idea of you shuffling the cards is that from a psychological point of view, there's no way on earth that I could know the order of the cards. That would be impossible, and I pose it as a question, so the audience will tell me that of course it is totally impossible, and I say, well, without knowing the order of the cards, if I click, I can actually get an ace to come up at the top of the deck, and at the top of the deck I'll have an ace, you see, like that. So what I do is I pop the ace on the table. I know that you can't see that, but it's so hard to sort of film and edit everything all at the same time. The next phase of this is that I tell them how it's going to work. So I say, what we'll do is we'll have a look at the top card. If the top card is the 3 of hearts and I want an ace, what I can do is I can give it a little rub and a click. Rub, just change it like that, you see, and it'll turn as if by magic into an ace. And at this point people are saying, well, you didn't show us how you did it. So what I like to do is I give the deck a little cut and I say, watch it. Sometimes it's to do with the weight of the card, and you can kind of watch it, you can see it sort of fall through the deck. It's just the weight of the card doing all the work here for you. This isn't really magic, you see, but what I've got here is the ace of hearts. Now this is the glide as a colour change, as I've said, so what I'm going to do is I turn my hand over, I take the next card after executing the glide, and I turn it over to show that it's changed, and I say, well, the 9 is useless because I'm looking for the 4 aces. I then put the 9 onto the bottom of the deck and I square everything up before I turn and show the 9 on the face of the deck, and I say, now the thing is with this 9, you have to keep an eye on it at all times because it will change, and that's the ace of hearts again. So I turn my hand down so as not to reveal the 9 that's just sat there on the bottom. And then for the last ace, what I tend to do is I tend to just sort of, I always have a little stumble when I'm trying to find it, but I give the cards a little cut like so, and I say, just say stop to any of my spectators. I say stop, they end up with the last ace. Like that, you see. So then that's the 4 aces, and then I'll normally go into something like twisting the aces, which is really easy if you practice the Elmsley count enough, which is something we're going to move on to at some point. I'll just give you a quick look at what that is. Now the Elmsley count is a very tricky sleight that requires a lot of practice, and I am always guilty of not practicing enough, but it should look something like this. Now there you can clearly see I've got the ace of diamonds face up in the middle. If I give them a little spin and a click, no sort of funny business, nothing, the ace of diamonds goes face down and the ace of clubs is face up on the top of the deck. So if I turn the ace of clubs face down like so, rub and a click, the ace of hearts is face up in the middle. I might as well finish this since I've started it. What I do is I gather all the cards up, I show all the faces of the cards, and then when I go through, you see all of the cards now are face down. But with a little shake and a tap, the ace of spades is face up in the middle, and that's twisting the aces, and that's pretty much how I start at most tables. I think the psychological bit at the beginning where I'm allowing the spectators to mix the cards, and I do sort of make a point of saying that this means there's no way I can stack the deck, and they get the opportunity to look through the deck to make sure that it's real, and then I, almost using blinds, find the 4 aces, and it never fails. It's a great little trick. But what we're going to do today is the ambitious card, which is where you have a spectator name a card out loud or pick a card, however you want to do it. So I normally let them look through the faces, and let's just say for this example they were to pick the 4 diamonds. Now Darryl does a really nice bit where he will cull that card, but I'm afraid I can't cull, and he says, now imagine the 4 diamonds was to come to the top and the 4 would come to the top. I however don't do that. So say we had the 4 selected by a spectator. I'm just going to put that down on the side. I'd use, say, a double undercut or something, so I'd say pop the card there, however you want to have the card returned. They'd pop the 4 face down on top of the deck, just here. What I then do is I close the deck off and I say, look, no breaks, nothing like that, blah blah blah. I give it a little double undercut, which just cuts to the break that I kept above the card. So now the card is on top. I catch a double lift with the break that we learned in the last video. So your card isn't the top card, is it? They say no. I then use the double to flip one card, and I say, is it the next card? They say no, that's the 9 of hearts and the 10 of hearts. You sure it was neither of those 2 cards? They're going to say no. I say, do you remember what your card was? They say yes. I say, what I'd like you to do is just concentrate very hard on that card. And then I turn over the top card, which is actually a double, because you did the double that lifted the single, and then you put the double on top of the single, turn them all face down. The actual card is in the second position. So if you do a double, it's a very quick explanation, I'm sorry. If you do a double, it will end up as their card being the top card, the 4 diamonds, and then you can take that, you can place it into the middle of the deck, like so, lose it into the deck, square away, everything's clean. What you can do here, I mean the card's on top, so you could do a colour change from the top of the deck if you wanted with the double left, or you can just sort of click and the card will come straight back up to the top, you see. Now one thing a lot of people seem to think that happens with this is that I do use a double lift, and I say the word double lift in my patter, which is very bold. And I say, well, I don't use a double lift, you see, I just have the 4 on the top of the deck, like so, you see. Now what I do is I make it as fair as I can, I out-jog the card so you can keep an eye on it, and I put it into the middle of this deck here. I then ask the spectators to just push that all the way in, like that. I'll give a little click, I'll pop the deck down, and as you can see, the card has appeared in my mouth. Now that's a really basic, it's really easy, ambitious card, but I think it's kind of, I think it's kind of essential if you are a magician to have a fairly good ambitious card at least. I mean mine isn't the best, but I do use it, and it is you know, it's a classic of magic. So what we'll be doing in the next video is we'll be learning how to do all of those moves in more detail. I'm really sorry that the content has been sort of few and far between recently. I moved house, I've had a lot of problems with my job, I hate my job, loads of stuff's been going on, so I've just been busy, but this is the next video, and we're moving on. I hope you enjoyed it, thank you very much, see you soon, bye bye. No.